Running back number 3, Ashton Jeanty. What say you? We're going to be opening up the phone lines here shortly. We've got Eye Patch, a.k.a. Najee, the Pirate Harris, visiting with the Raiders. This would be the perfect player to bring in to be the complement that Kubiak's saying he wants to have, potentially share some of the work and workload with Jeanty. This would be ideal. The last thing you want is some young buck rookie like Jonah Coleman. This is perfect. And Jeanty, to me, is going to destroy every negative Noah's, negative take, all the haters and doubters that think Jeanty can't drop wads from day one. They've got to fix the offensive line, Smitty. Haven't you heard? The Raiders have to fix their offensive line. And until that happens, I'm going to be behind on this. I'm going to try and jump on the train later, so that way we can potentially...
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Now, we'll see what happens with Jeanty. Najee set to visit with the Raiders. If I said he visited with the Raiders, he's set to visit with the Raiders. This will be an interesting landing. Like, you're going to either Seattle or LV is what it sounds like if you're Najee Harris. You're going to where Kubiak was, or you're going to where Kubiak is. And I think that will be a nice selling point for Najee. I think Najee also having Kub say, look what we did last year. You know, we won a Super Bowl, bro. We also rotated running backs, plenty of opportunity for you. Not going to get shoved aside. And no one's saying that Jeanty's getting rotated to the degree people are thinking. He needs to be spelled. Jeanty had 1,300 total yards last year. This monster, Ashton Jeanty. Yet people doubt him. They judge him. They say, oh, I worry about the offensive line, Smitty. Or what if they can't throw the football down the field, Smitty? And let me grab his stats here from thefantasyfootballshow.com, his advanced stats metrics, which I have on every single player page. It's the most phenomenal data I think you'll find on the web anywhere for fantasy football stats and running backs and receivers and all the important stuff. So this is Ashton Jeanty's data. This man he was third in the league in receiving touchdowns in a trash environment. He was third in the league in broken tackles. He was yards after contact per reception number 4. Such an underrated receiver. 50-plus yards. This man was 5th in the league with 250-plus yards in an environment where he was hit before he even had the football. This man was horrible in yards before contact, which is a stat measures offensive line and system and coaching, not the running back. Then you've got target share, 6th in the league. Yards after yards after catch, 6. Games, that's everybody, don't ignore that one, but look, 17 games. I mean, this is an important stat. Rushing attempts, 7th. Yards after contact per rush, 7th. Receptions, 7th. Red zone targets, 7th. Targets, period, 7th. Attempts, 7th. Receiving yards, 10th. Look at all of the categories this man ranked inside the top 10. And he was behind trash. Worst offensive line, which is not going to be even close to this offensive line. For people that say the Raiders this, the Raiders that, the Raiders are going to have trouble. They got to rebuild their line. I'm going to circle back once the line's fixed and climb on the train when there's no seats left? I don't think so. Not on my watch. You're not getting on this train.
You're done. Take a big lap. We don't need your hate. Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch. This is the early train. There's only one train heading to LV. You either get on it now or you're not getting on it, period. Wait until they're off. And so let me wait and see what happens, said the guy that got last place or always fights for second place. Jeanty's going to ball. Jeanty's going to have the yardage that Jeanty had this year. Jeanty's going to have that same amount of rushing yards, which you can see down here, 975 plus receiving yards, which is 346. This guy's going to have the same amount of total yards, 1,300. He will have rushing. He'll have an additional 300 or so receiving, 55, 65 plus receptions, probably 15 total touchdowns. This is a top 3, 4, 5 running back. His floors maybe 5 or 6. His ceilings maybe 1. And Pirate, Naji, is not going to be a threat. He's going to be an accoutrement. He's like the little, candy pieces you sprinkles, or the confetti that is tossed on the cake. He is just an accoutrement, an accessory. He is nothing more if he lands in LV. And this is what we want. A player that we have no concerns about taking 50%. He's not. No one's taking 50% of the workload from Jeanty. I don't care if Jonah Coleman does land on roster. The only thing that Jonah Coleman might do is put Kubiak in a position where he says, kind of like rotating this a little bit to keep Jeanty healthy. We don't want that. Najee's going to be so ineffective comparatively to Jeanty that you're not going to be like, let's rotate this goal line situation. It's going to be Jeanty. Jeanty's getting you the touchdowns. Jeanty's going to be, what have you done for me lately? He scored a touchdown, put him in. That's what this is going to be. Now, for a man that everybody said we called and was a bust, so I take the L. I took the L on Bijan. Highest person on planet Earth on Bijan his rookie year. I take the L. He was number 9. That's on me. Was I right? Yes. Was I a year early? Yes. Yeah.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Am I a year early on Jeanty? Yes. Are we in a rinse and repeat what happened with Bijan? Are we the highest on Jeanty known to man? I took the L because you can't be the highest. Have him finish where he finished, which was still respectable. 1,310 touchdowns. Pretty damn good season.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day. The other is for getting chicks.
Jeanty is going to not the moon, not Mars, not Jupiter, or not Saturn.
To Jupiter.
Maybe not even Jupiter. Might be Andromeda. Might be one of the few Andromeda galaxy drops that we have very soon. If you want data like this, get over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Every player has a player page, and the data is tremendous. Let's open the phone lines here and talk about all of this. See if we have any super chats or anything that needs addressing. Let me circle on over to the Rumble live stream where Hebrew Hammer dropped a wad over. I don't understand. Hebrew Hammer is just, he's like a superhero. He just keeps on coming. You can't stop him, even if you wanted to.
It's hammer time.
Mashed potatoes!
Hammer, this one's for you, pal. Hammer dropping a wad on the Rumble. I do believe Jeanty is in the and the Raiders have gotten significantly better. I do not like where his ADP is. For me, I have to see this is a proven machine before I roll with a first round pick, early second. Look, Hammer, he probably dropped that well before I ridiculed the idea of this concept. So I apologize, Hammer, for kind of attacking that stance. I did not know you had dropped that super chat. But the one thing I will never do is a super chat or super chatter or anybody is not going to change my opinion. And I believe that's why Hammer loves the channel. So I wouldn't have curbed what I said no matter what. But I think anybody wanting to get on the train late is going to regret not being on board.
Let him cook.
I still appreciate you, and we're not always going to agree. And Hammer is a beast. You can't stop him. But I do very much disagree with the stance of waiting and seeing it happen, because you're just not going to get in on it. You can't. If he ends up delivering what we believe he'll deliver, there's no trading for him. No one's trading him in Dynasty. No one's going to trade him in redraft. So if you don't like round one value, you're probably not going to own him, and it's going to be a sad season. To not necessarily a losing season, but just you'll be a little sad, because we'll be in here dropping these beautiful, wonderful. Let's play the full. Let's see if we can play the full video of Jeanty.
Hey, are you currently sitting at home and wondering, why am I such a loser? Why do I not know how to get chicks? Well, there is a solution. Draft Ashton Jeanty in your upcoming fantasy football drafts, and you'll immediately start growing hair on your chest. Those little testicles of yours will finally drop, and even though you still live in your mom's basement, you're going to immediately start getting hot chicks, all because you drafted Ashton Jeanty. Now, do you want to be this guy? Hi, I'm worried William, and my mommy just warmed me up a hot pocket, and I've never even talked to a hot chick. Or this guy. Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day, the other is for getting chicks. Alright, put down the hot pocket petrified pita and start smashing Jeanty ADP, and watch less Thundercats reruns and more of the fantasy football show with Smitty, you bozo.
Let's see here. Where were we? Super chats answered that one. Let's see what Rumble is saying. That is definitely one of my favorite videos, to be honest. Let's see here. Look at my comment. This is not against Jeanty. It's his ADP. No, I know, Hammer. Look, Hammer, you don't have to explain yourself. I'm merely just saying that anybody that doesn't want to be on the train is going to be sad. That's all I'm saying. But Hammer, to be honest, in anybody's defense that's yelling at me saying I can't go ahead and get it, I can't go ahead and draft Jeanty, I said this last year and it was an overpay. But I also said the same thing about Bijan his rookie year. It was an overpay, but we ended up being correct. Appreciate you. All right, you're more than welcome to call in as well and defend your stance. And I'm not mad at your stance. I'm just saying my opinion of getting on later, it's going to just be a situation that people are going to regret. Dial into the phone line. The phone line is open.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Jeanty, baby. Top 5 RB. Nearly locked and guaranteed. Nearly. Nothing's guaranteed in this world. Injury could happen. An alien abduction could happen. Anything can happen. But top 5 running back numbers, in hindsight, will be a steal at his ADP. But that's just me. That's what I feel. That's how I think. Not everybody will agree. And that's what makes this thing we do, this racket of fantasy football, so fun and amazing. This is my RB3-4. I would say 3 locked in, but I do love mixing it up a little bit. H-Hand still needs to be owned a little. Hampton's got potential to be 3, 4, 5. But push comes to shove, I'm in one draft. I'm in a box. I got to make a move. Gibbs and Bijan are gone. This is my only league. I'm on a desert island. My Wi-Fi or what do you call it? Starlink is got the battery's about to run out. I'm in a best ball draft, so I don't have to set my lineup, right? Underdog promo code Smitty. I'm in a best ball draft. I'm at 3. Bijan and Jeanty are gone. I'm about to auto the entire draft, but I get to make my selection on Underdog promo code Smitty. They'll match your first deposit 50%. And it's counting down 5 seconds, 4 seconds. The Starlink's about to go out. I'm at number 3 overall. I want an RB. I'll let the auto picking take care of the rest. I'm punching it. One draft, Jeanty. Do it live.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Travis, you are live, young man. And again, let me just clarify. I was not, Hammer knows, first of all, Hammer's got thick skin. No one has to protect Hammer. But I wasn't ripping on Hammer. I was just ripping on the stance that I didn't know Hammer actually put in the super chat. And I don't apologize for it. Like I said, Hammer loves me because of that. He knows I'm going to stick to my guns. No one's going to influence what I'm going to say. I don't care who's on the phone line. I don't care if I have, I don't know, a player like Najee Harris on the show, and he says I'm going to be a top 10 running back. I'm not going to just sit there and go, yes, sir. Probably why I don't have players on this channel, because I don't want to have to tell them how I feel. Travis, let me merge Hammer in real quick. Hammer, hold on, mute yourself real quick. I'll go over to Travis first, and then over to Hammer. Travis, you're live. Running back 3.
Yeah, and for me, it's 3, like, with the ball. Like, I don't really have anyone close to him. I think he'll be closer to Gibbs and Bijan than he is to other top 10. I'm that high on him. And I say that because, last year, like, he showed he can carry the load with these 266 catches, 55 receptions. And it was inarguably, like, one of the worst situations we've seen, not just last year, but in a couple of years maybe for running back. They've done fun. They have one of the best centers in the league now. Colton Miller is a very good left tackle. They're going to make more moves. They have Jackson Powers Johnson, who I know still has to prove himself and be healthy, but he's a monster on the other side. Like, they have pieces in place, and then like you talk about, Kubiak and Mendoza alone are going to make things better. So, I mean, even if you had a 50% improvement in the situation, he's going to be really good, and I think it's going to be multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, even if, and then I'll let Hammer answer for himself, but the thing about letting this thing play out, like, I need to see the offensive line. Why are we even doing this thing? If we needed to see something before we acted, like, that's where the reset comes in. That's where I would try and say something to a guy like Hammer right here. He's about to jump on and defend himself. This is why I'm here, to try and use my influence to the best of my ability to try and say, hey, you have the tools and skills to do this. This might be where you need a little kick in the rear end to say, you're making assumptions every time you draft. And if one of the assumptions can't be Kubiak, who just won a Super Bowl, offensive line that had 2 guys going in a direction where there's no one to even block. Like, there were times where you could pull up, like, at least twice, 3 times a game when Jeanty had the ball. The offensive line, two different offensive linemen at once would both run in a direction. There was no one to block. 2 of them at the same time, not just one. It's not like one bad offensive lineman. It was awful. Jeanty was getting hammered before he even got his paws on the ball. And he still managed 1,300 total yards, 10 touchdowns, and looked like a phenom. Even in spots every game when he'd get free and break loose and do his thing. Like, this offensive line, without me even seeing it, sight unseen, is going to be top 12. The offensive line will be top 12, sight unseen. I don't even need to know what's going on next to know it will be. Linderbaum alone, but
There
the
were
way
52.
Kubiak will coach it, even if he only replaces 50, 60% of it, it's still going to be top 12 no matter what, unless they get ravaged with injuries like the Chargers did. And so with Kubiak and his decision making and the pieces in place to curb this, it will be top 12 no matter what. So my question to the waiting on Jeanty is why? You know, because you can't wait for things to happen or you miss the value. So that would be my only question. Hammer, you're live. You can definitely defend yourself, or maybe I convinced you. I don't know. That's my job. I'm trying to do that. Hammer time.
I made a list, but also mine was more geared towards redraft. So I do want to preface with that. So that obviously changes things. So I do have my list. I have Bijan, Gibbs, Taylor, McCaffrey, James Cook, Achane. I'm taking Hampton, Love, and Walker all over him. Walker, the few that you might scratch your head, those situations are too rich for me. Jeanty, yes, and I'm saying he's legit, and he literally had no time to run last year. So, literally, when you start at minus yards, I'm giving him props.
But why?
I played this redraft. So,
but why?
Now
why not give him like the advance on this? Like you're advancing him credit. You know, why does Kubiak, the Linderbaum edition alone, the Mendoza quick release? This is gonna be an offense. Bowers was injured all year. Now Bowers is stretching the field. You know, they add a sneaky receiver.
Being back.
Yeah, left tackle being back. Linderbaum, just those two pieces.
In the league before he got hurt.
Just those two pieces mixed with Staff, mixed with Kubiak, mixed with Mendoza, mixed with a healthy Bowers. It already is the top 12 offensive line. So if one of the bigger arguments against why he can't be ahead of Walker and a couple other players that you listed, to where the statement is first round, no thank you. Why can't he? And again, this is why we're here. The debate of it is healthy. And by no means is Hammer's take bad at all, because history's on his side. But it doesn't matter history to me when I'm looking at a storm in front of me. That
my not going to change. I mean, Walker and Hampton, those situations with offenses, I'm going to roll with that, and I'm going to roll with back play.
I don't hate your take. I don't hate it at all, but I just think that you should diversify a little bit and have a little Jeanty, because if you're not going to take him around one, you won't own.
Again, it's kind of like I said about Puka. It's like first round. That's rich for me.
I think you're judging the offensive line and don't need to, because he could be number 3 overall. He could be the number 3 overall scorer, and he's sometimes falling to the 10, 11, 12, 13 territory. And I just think that you should take some shares. But to the point of everybody saying the Raiders, like it's so funny to read it, because it's like regurgitated. It's almost not you Hammer, but just people almost have like an index card. They're like, the Raiders aren't very good. They were bad last year. Did you see their offensive line? Until they fix their offensive line. And so I'm just, and again, Hammer, I'm not including you in that group, even though your statement kind of was parallel with me making fun of that. That's why I was joking around, because I'm like, damn it, I didn't know Hammer already dropped that $50 hauler. But I'm always truthful.
Those are drastic changes.
It's going to be amazing. Hammer, I'm asking you, find a way. If it's best ball, whatever you got to do, draft some first round Ashton Jeanty for me somewhere. It can be in best ball. Who cares? $5 draft, $3 draft. I just need you to be on board. We can't have no hammer time during Jeanty explosions because you didn't draft him anywhere because he was only going to cost you a first rounder and you weren't doing it. We need some shares, Hammer, somewhere. That's all I'm asking.
Like for me, like Kenneth Walker.
Injury prone.
I'm not saying that situation is too good.
But there's concerns there that are equal in measurement. There's the injury concern. Andy Reid and the Chiefs in general always seem to kind of not do what we think they're going to do sometimes with personnel. I know Walker's special. I know Walker's different, but he's struggled with injuries. Like to me, I don't know why that wouldn't be hey, I want Walker sometimes and Jeanty other times. Jeanty's a phenom, bro. Walker's walking in with, as much as I love Walker, and you weren't here, Hammer, but Walker was the first moon man ever when we created the actual moon man list. Even though we said to the moon, everybody's copied us. Everybody copies everything we do. But we've been saying that for forever, since the beginning of the channel. But we created the actual moon man list for the first time with Walker, so we love Walker. But Walker's coming in with no recent resume. It's the Super Bowl NFL MVP and the thought of what would have been had they given him the ball all year, but no evidence of it, just to remember when. And so he walks in my opinion, with more risk to produce, even though I love Walker. This is not a hate on Walker. Walker's a second rounder. But Hammer, you do have a tendency to discuss players that are completely a round apart. Like Walker's going in round 2. Walker has zero business being in round 1. So when we're talking about Jeanty and you're like, I can't take Jeanty in round 1, I'd much rather have Walker. Walker's not going to touch round 1. So like that part, I think sometimes you'll like out of principle, because you seem like a stubborn in a very good way. And I appreciate it. Like the channel loves it. I love it. That's who I am. I'm a very stubborn man myself. But it's like, you're going to say, I'm drafting Walker. I don't care if he's a middle of the second round ADP. I'm taking him at 11.
But we talk about cost of entry. That's why
we can. But when we're talking about first round, you won't spend it on Jeanty, and you say Walker. You know, that part of me wonders if you would take Walker over Jeanty in the first round. Let's say all the running backs you talk about. Achan's gone. Obviously the guys above him are gone, and you're sitting at JT and Jeanty, and you could go receiver and shift, but you're telling me you're never going to take Jeanty. I need you to take one. All I'm asking is one share. One share. We need you.
I never said that. I said I listed the running backs for him, and then he's right after that.
Okay. So find a way to get one share. That's all I'm asking. I don't want to be punching this button over and over as we celebrate this man's glory. And I don't want you on the sideline waving. I want you with us in the huddle. All right. Travis, what is the earliest you would take Jeanty? And where would you start snagging Jeanty at an uncomfortable, almost embarrassing clip? Like if his ADP fell, if a lot of people agree with what Hammer's saying, let's say, and a lot of people, and he fell to like 18 overall. I imagine you're kind of like me. You throw a little of the caution to the wind and you just be like, hit it, smash, smash. Like I believe I'd have a 50% Ashton Jeanty share percentage on Underdog if he was going middle of the second round, where I think Hammer would feel more comfortable with him being. I would own him at 50, 60% of all my drafts. I will put everything on the line, which I have balls to do. I have more. Yeah, 70, maybe 70%. I think I'd take him everywhere. Yeah. I couldn't. If he went where Hammer needs him to be safer, I would have him. I would say at least 60. I'd say at least 60, 65% of all of my leagues. And even Hammer at 8 or 9, I'd take him in like maybe an uncomfortable higher percentage than most. I'd say like 30. And that's possible. It's not possible. What?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say that like you can't own 50, 60% of Gibbs. It's impossible. You can't have 50, 60, 70% Bijan. You can't have 50, 60, 70% JSN. You can't have 50, 60, 70% Chase or Puka, because you have to get the odds of you getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 pick are exactly those numbers. And, you know, if you're flipping coins, 12 coins. And so you're going to roughly every 12 times you draft, you're going to, you know, have different draft slots, right? So you'll be lucky to get 30% of your 30 or 40% of your drafts to be in the top 4. Like, you couldn't even get that. If you did 100 drafts, you would have 1, 2, 3, or 4 overall, at most 30 to 40% of the time. So you could only, and then you have to rotate all that. So you're never going to have huge percentage of shares of those guys. They're always going to be limited at, like, that's why sometimes you look at your underdog consumption of saturation, and you say, damn, Gibbs is only, you know, 11%. I'm higher on Gibbs than that, but then you realize I've only been in a position to draft Gibbs every, like, 5th draft, because then I'm getting the 7 pick, the 6 pick. But with Jeanty, where his ADP is, where he's going like 7, 8, 9, 10, I can take him at 7. I can take him at 6 if I want. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have like literally half of all of your draft slots that you're going to be given randomly capable of drafting Jeanty anywhere there. So I can, if I want, overconsume to the point where I ruin my entire season, or I give myself the best chance to win underdog big prizes or win all my leagues. And I'm totally willing to do that. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I'll do it till I die. Is continue to try and diversify the best I can, because that is one of my goals, especially for my viewers, is diversify across your fantasy football portfolio. It's a very key with all the injuries that we had in 2026. It's a very important part of not getting upset, hating fantasy football, walking away because you got nothing to play for. You have to diversify your portfolio. But I do enough underdog drafts that this is fine for me. I can, if I did 2 or 3 or 4 of them, my advice would be don't do what I'm doing. If I did 20 underdog drafts, my advice would be don't do what I'm doing. But I do so many of them, I could give 2 shots if I have Jeanty in 50% of my drafts at this cost of entry, especially if it lowers a little bit because people get a little Raider worry or something like that. You know, sorry, go ahead, Travis. I know you've been trying to say something for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
No, it's all right. I think a lot of people in the chat are talking about it because you had mentioned, you know, how high would you take him as well, and I think 1.6 is fair. Like, to me, I think it would be somewhat unreasonable to, obviously, you're not taking him over Bijan or Gibbs, and then the 3 receivers, good JSN, Chase. I think after that, you're fine. It jumps up in ADP, which I agree with. We haven't said it, but as we get closer to drafting, I think he is going to creep into that top 10, top 12 range. Where is he now? I don't know exactly where he is.
His ADP on Underdog as of tonight, and they always update it right around, I think, like midnight-ish or whatever. His ADP on Underdog right this very second, if I refresh it, drum roll, it looks like it is, oh boy, where'd it go? Oh, 11.8, which is actually 12. It's 12 overall. So now I can get him at 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I could get him at 50. I could have 50% percentage rostered of Ashton Jeanty, and I won't bat an eye.
I have one request.
What's your request, Hammer?
Can you do a real quick whiteboard?
Yes, I can.
I just want to list a few names that I have written down in my head.
All right, hold on.
It's not going to change your mind.
Hammer. Believe me, it's not going to change my mind.
No,
I'll tell you that. Okay, go ahead. And Hammer, I appreciate you. I did not want you, and you got thick skin. I know you don't care, but for anybody watching, like, Hammer dropped a $50 super chat. I did not roast his question. I roasted the humor of me ripping apart the take of the offensive line. I'll wait until it happens. And then as I read the $50 super chat, he's like, I'll go ahead and wait and see. But like, I believe, Hammer, you're okay with my honesty, no matter if you're dropping a super chat or not. That's
I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't
okay. It's
otherwise.
Healthy disagreement. Go ahead.
These are wide receivers, no order. Puka, Chase, JSN, CD, St. Brown, and most people won't like this, JJ. I take all those over him. That's, again, I'm different, but those are my wide receivers.
And I don't.
It's right in the draft, so that's
I don't hate that at all. I don't hate that at all. From a trade perspective, you're not going to get much in some sort of swap. In fact, Jeanty costs more, so you can't do that. Would I trade Jeanty? Would I trade St. Brown for Jeanty and some? Yes. Would I trade CD for Jeanty and some? Yes. Would I trade JSN, Chase, Puka for Jeanty and some? In a lot of cases, I would. Would I draft JJ over Jeanty? I do all the time when I'm trying to diversify, even with my oversaturation urge and likely follow through. I do still draft JJ. I still do draft St. Brown and CD over Jeanty because I do so many underdog drafts and I want that diversification. But when it comes to what's my take, I'm taking Jeanty over JJ. I'm taking Jeanty over St. Brown, although I could definitely rotate that comfortably. CD, I would say 1 out of 4 I'm taking CD. The 3 other times I'm taking Jeanty, or it could be it depends on how things shake out with Pickens, of course. JSN almost nearly every time, Chase every time, Puka every time. And why do I say that? Because again, these guys are so high up on the food chain. If you don't take them when you get the opportunity, you're never going to have them. And Jeanty, I have the opportunity from 6 to 12 to take them. So I'm never going to pass on these guys that live in the top 5 or 6 when I can just consume them when, I will say that sometimes you build different teams though. So every once in a while, I may grab Jeanty at 5 or 6 when one of these guys are there. Very rarely. But just because I want to build a Jeanty with the corresponding player that I won't normally get to draft with him, pair with him, in that scenario of taking him higher and then getting that different range of player. But for the most part, this makes sense and you're not crazy to think this, but you're also not doing what we're doing, Hammer, which is us saying, well, yeah, I could definitely take JJ at times. Yeah, I could definitely take St. Brown over Jeanty at times. You're saying essentially, or you have at least, that you wouldn't. It's not like you're even rotating it. And that's where I'm kind of coming in saying, Hammer, you should reconsider that just like we would take JJ, CD, St. Brown on occasion over Jeanty, you should be taking Jeanty over these guys on occasion as well. Just because they're in the same wheelhouse.
Yes, how the board falls.
Right, but sometimes
where you see.
But sometimes you should be taking. But sometimes you should be taking Jeanty over JJ, CD, and St. Brown. And it doesn't sound like you are right now. I'm just saying I would consider it. You should be diversifying it with a little bit of Jeanty in your life. I'm telling you, even at the cost of going ahead of these guys once in a while. But if you're only waiting for all these guys to get ripped off the board to take Jeanty and that's your stance, you're probably never going to own Jeanty. And you're probably saying I'm okay with that. I'm saying you shouldn't be okay with that. You should say, JJ's not any sort of lock. I love him. I'm the biggest JJ supporter right now, creating content you probably find. But I still admit that there's risk involved here. Very much the same kind of risk that I feel you view Jeanty as. CD's got the same level of risk, even though I love CD, that I believe you feel Jeanty has. St. Brown?
I've seen too much evidence. There's too much evidence between him and St. Brown.
You're hard-headed, Hammer. You're hard-headed. You're hard-headed, bro.
CD has Pickens there. CD got hurt last year.
I love that he has Pickens there.
I love you, Hammer, but you're about as hard-headed as I am.
That captain feeling. Like,
I mean,
doesn't it?
he missed 5 games last year, and he had over. All right, I'll give you my running backs unless you're done. But I'm going Gibbs, Bijan, Achan.
There's nothing wrong.
Taylor.
There's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm just saying you're putting Jeanty like a blow all these guys here, locking them in. It's gonna be a depressing season if it becomes the third running back and you don't partake. I'm just asking you to rotate this when you get to the shady area. Just rotate a little bit of Jeanty in. JJ and CD are as risky as Jeanty. Plain and simple. Doesn't matter if you've seen anything. We've seen college football where this guy runs for 10,000 touchdowns on the ground. And I saw your comment about that's college football. You're not going to. Jeanty is mother freaking Jeanty. Jeanty's a touchdown machine. Jeanty can sniff 20 touchdowns in a season in his career. He'll be an 18, 20 touchdown, rushing touchdown player at some point during his NFL career. It can translate, my boy. It's going to translate for him. It would have. The guy practically was Superman with getting hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any running back in the league. This man's yards before contact were in the negatives at times, meaning he was getting hit, before he could even remotely get close. So
absolutely,
and he still produced, and his line is going to be a top 15 guaranteed offensive line. I say it's going to be inside the top 12. And so, waiting is going to be a sad predicament later. That's all I'm saying. Because you're acting like JJ, CD, and some of these other characters don't have some level of equivalent risk. I've seen it before. You've seen it, but you've also seen it go sideways too. We just saw it go sideways for CD Lamb. We just saw it go sideways for JJ. Like, even though we've seen it production, we've seen it go sideways, and they're coming out of negative situations as well. All I'm saying is, and I think, what we're, Travis and I and everybody else mostly, I can't really read all the chat, is saying that, I could see where Jeanty, JJ, and CD are in the same boat, and you lean a little bit more CD, JJ, and those guys, but damn, man, like, Jeanty's in that category, and he should be mixed in, not at the bottom when all these guys are gone. Because Hammer, you can say it till you're blue in the face that you'll still draft Jeanty, but you won't, because if you refuse to draft him over JJ ever, if you refuse to draft him over CD ever, if you refuse to draft him over James Cook ever, you're never going to own him. But
no, I just need to see how the board falls.
All right.
Because that's how I play it. I mean, see the board going.
But the board has barely started, so there's not much that the board's going to tell you at 7 overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the king of best player available, reading the board, taking what the draft gives you. But at 7 or 8 overall, the board hasn't even begun. Like, there's nothing to interpret. You can't interpret anything at that point. It's like 7 or 8 overall. If you're never going to take Jeanty, you're never going to own him. 7 to 12.
So pretty much you're not taking him unless he falls like range of 20.
No, I think he'd probably say 15, 15. I think his assessment sounds like about 15, 14, 16. There's nothing to interpret. Yeah, there's nothing to interpret.
He had him as his 10th RB. So.
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess 16, 17.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. I would say 15, 16. But you're never gonna get him there. So what I'm just telling you, like, there's nothing to interpret at that point. Like, until everybody starts getting, until you're getting close to seeing what you're.
You reach for Jeanty over let him fall. In general.
Yeah. All right, Hammer, you do what you got to do, and you know we love you no matter what. I'm just trying to get you on the train because it's a funner train with you partying on it, bro. But it doesn't.
I want to be popping champagne. I want to be popping champagne on the thing, but again, I don't want to lose, win in the first round. That's really it.
I don't. Yeah.
And that's a big part of why I'm not doing it.
But it doesn't jive though when you say CD Lamb, who's dealing with Pickens, who got injured, and I'm not saying I don't love CD. I promote CD all the time, but it's almost as if you're talking about locks that are in front of Jeanty, and you're not. You're talking about guys with similar but different but equivocal question marks, and you're pretending those question marks don't exist. And Jeanty is in a world where I think you should rotate him within the question mark players. That's what I'm trying to say. And I don't think you viewed CD or JJ. And even though I love JJ.
I did, because the drop off is significant after that at wide receiver. I mean, it's just completely done.
Yeah. I think it's easier to build a wide receiver room than an elite running back room. So, just the difference of.
And I guess the way I would say this is, I believe that don't want to lose in round one or that. None of that makes sense to me, because I'm drafting players. I'm never drafting positions. I'm never drafting strategies. I'm taking players, and I'm not worried about what somebody else thinks a player could lose, or like, if I believe in the player, that's all that matters. And I do believe in Jeanty. I do believe in JJ. I do believe in CD. I'm going to have a healthy rotation. But Jeanty, not being in the same conversation as a question mark rotational person in that group is just wild to me, because he and JJ and CD Lamb and even Achane to a degree, regardless of what he's proven, because his situation is changing dramatically. You don't really know what's in store. These guys are all in the same bucket, and I don't think you have Jeanty in that bucket at all. I think he's in the top of the next one, the next tier, which is look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. It does not sound like we're swaying Hammer at all to consider Jeanty a potential equal to any of the players he's listed. So it's a dead end. But Hammer, damn it, we're gonna throw a lifeline out to you like a raft with a rope on it. I don't care. You're the only person that we're gonna let get on the train later. If it happens, we'll throw it out. Just put it on, and we'll pull you onto the train that's gonna go 10,000 miles per hour.
I'll eat it.
We need you on the train.
Cold call. I'll eat it.
All right.
I don't want that. If I make something outlandish,
we're trying to get you on the train, Hammer. Damn it! This guy doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be on the train. You just don't want to be on the train. Period. I understand. I accept it. I'm stopping. I give up. I surrender trying. All right. So, real quickly, as far as Naji goes, do you guys agree that he's probably the best replacement or best change of pace Kubiak desired running back to be?
Yep.
Because, man, this guy's going to be just barely good. He's not going to be great. He'll be barely good. And Jeanty's going to make him look silly to the point where Kubiak might need to even rethink the sort of like two-back system. And he only is going to use him just to make sure Jeanty's healthy. That's it. It's just going to be nothing. This is the most ideal backup running back we can think of. Period, right?
Yeah. Easy. Because they have, who else do they have? Dylan Lobb or Lobby or whatever. He's nothing but a pass-catching back. So I think that's perfect. If I mean, they could take another back too in the draft somewhere, but, I think Najee's perfect because Najee, he's a bigger body back, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield, but nothing of what he does is going to be at the level of Jeanty. So he's a perfect.
Did we ever get an update on whether he regained all of his vision, or are they just not? I don't think we've seen anything. So I have a feeling that they're not updating us because he doesn't want anybody to know. In his mind, it's none of their business. But you feel like that's going to come up, is like, because the team's going to be able to ask him that. They're going to be, it's a physical that he's going to have. So I wonder if we'll get wind of that, or if maybe I missed it, but I'm sure things got better for him, but I wonder if there's still some damage we're going to hear about real soon. Like, he's got, he lost 20% or a division in the eye or whatever. I mean, who knows?
You mean you need your vision play?
Well, Najee doesn't have any vision anyway. He just kind of, He's like Daredevil.
Well,
he just finds
well,
Daredevil
like-
takes care of it though. You know, that's the knock.
the backup running back thing never is really much in play. Like I had kids last year, like when people were freaking out when Montgomery it's just foolish. Like Jeanty is that good. I'm saying that he's that good. I don't care who his backup running back is.
Well, the reason it's relevant is because of the news, and that the news suggests that you're going to have, Kubiak specifically said we're going to have a two-back system, and it's just scaring people. And so the thing is, no matter what I feel, Hammer, especially look at me trying to argue Jeanty with you tonight, and you're not accepting any of it. And that's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. There's no problem at all. But imagine how much pushback and calming of the storm I have to do with people when they hear things like Monty and, two-back system. Oh, my God. So regardless of how many times I say it, these kind of things are helpful in trying to potentially get people to let go of the concerns that they're holding on to. And so obviously we're talking about that.
It's a bit worrisome. They have 3 4th-round picks, and even if they sign Najee, they probably still take it back in that range because of the extra pick. Najee, I mean, what is Najee? A year, maybe 2, most. Like maybe nothing. He's coming off an Achilles tear. I feel like Kubiak might bring in someone else.
Yeah.
Good time with another team. He's been linked to the Seahawks and the Niners too.
Yeah, definitely could. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that Kubiak's an attractive landing spot for Naji. I'm hoping that Naji says to himself, like, this is a system where I saw 2 running backs get love, and that way I can, potentially get my, he in his mind he probably thinks I can go get this job. I can take it. I'm Najee Harris. I mean, he's coming back from an Achilles tear, ladies and gentlemen. His explosion is not going to be there. In fact, he has a high likelihood of tearing his other Achilles tendon, or re-tearing the current one, but very likely of tearing the other Achilles tendon more so than taking any sort of work from Jeanty on any sort of meaningful work. So the running backs, especially running backs that are rushing back, that you got to know that the Achilles tendon is similar to like brake pads. I always say that you have a wear and tear of them that's kind of, I don't want to say equal parts on both Achilles tendons, but it's kind of like that, where you're wearing down your Achilles in a way that's repetitive and congruent. It's parallel on both sides of your body because of the way you run or the amount of wear and tear that you've taken. And so it's not like you're running differently on this leg than this leg. That's compensation injury. Some people do that, but for the most part, your motion's going to be the same. So if you're wearing one out, you're wearing the other out. And so then you start compensating and putting a lot more load on the good Achilles tendon, and then you end up rupturing it, is what ends up happening. But he also could rupture the repaired one if he's rushing back, and he seems to be going at lightning speed. And the thing is, we've never, ever had a running back return to or become a top 10 running back after they've torn their Achilles tendon. Ever. The NFL has never had a top 10 running back that has torn their Achilles tendon and has become or returned to top 10 running back form. And part of it is, and I think it will happen someday, especially like a college running back that tears it. But the reason that and we're kind of looking at running backs tearing it in the NFL time frame though. But somebody might tear it their rookie year and somehow become a top 10 running back. I've been waiting for this comment. I think you might be trolling though, AP. You got to. I think he's trolling. I know, but a lot of people don't understand what an Achilles tendon is or an ACL, and then they're like, "Oops, sorry."
That's a whole different piece.
I know, but it's a going joke here because no matter when I say that, always somebody comes in. They're like, what about Adrian Peterson? what about Adrian? I think he's trolling. But will it happen someday? Yeah, but there's two components involved here as to why it doesn't. Number one, I got super chats waiting for me. Rockout says, Smitty, check your DM.
You can go.
I'll do that in a second, Rockout. And then Smitty, my man, Smitty, my man, I agree. The writing is on the wall and definitely respect the call to ease off the Kyren train, but it's a real bummer. He's simply so money. I will say this. I thought about this a little more today, and I was looking at some ADP data. I am not all the way off Kyren. I'm very much, if you're drafting Corum, who's the reason this popped up is because I was looking at Corum ADP. And Corum, because people are so worried about this situation, they're still letting Corum fall super far. So if you can cuff the combo, I'm actually pretty okay with it. And especially in best ball, where you're gonna, if one gets injured, during the first quarter and the other comes in and scores massive points, you're going to be amazing. So I truly actually don't mind the Blake or the Kyren Williams and Blake Corum combo in best ball. Would I take Kyren Williams in non-best ball yearly leagues? I'm not saying I won't, but there tends to be a lot more safer options where Kyren's still going, given the nature of what we're looking at in LAR and how they rested Kyren. He still produced, but it was frustrating. And it could become something that's constant, rinse and repeat type of situation where they dial him back after 4 or 5 games. But I will say I'm backing off that a little bit. I'll do a video on it. That I don't mind Corum in best ball, cuff to Kyren and take the combo. So I'll say that. But thank you. Great question. I'm glad you brought it up because I thought about that today. And I'm like, I got to do a video on that because I think I may have given off the wrong impression that I don't want anybody going after Kyren whatsoever. That's not the case. What was I saying before that? Achilles. Oh, yeah, I think somebody will someday recover, but there's 2 components involved. That was it. Thank you. Number one, running back shelf life is short. So you cannot be 100% from an Achilles tear for more than 1 calendar. It takes more than 1 calendar year for a running back to be even remotely close to 100%. It takes usually about 2 full years of playing on it. It's different. It's a different position. It's not a basketball player. It's not a quarterback who just kind of meanders around and doesn't like plant and cut the way that a running back aggressively cuts and plants. And on top of that, if you reach back and feel your Achilles tendon, it's what feels like a cord going down your calf, turning into your heel. And you could feel it feels like a cord. Like even if you just kind of like slightly like move left to right, just kind of moving your ankle around, you feel that thing flexing and sometimes it creaks and cracks because you have damage to it. But just imagine planting that leg and you could feel that Achilles tendon, and a 300-pound lineman randomly hits you this direction and you're flexing that, and then another 300-pound lineman hits you this way, and then one jumps on top of you and you're trying to stay up and you're flexing all of that. It's so different than a quarterback going back getting hit or cutting, a receiver cutting. You're talking about something that is entirely different. And so a running back needs 2 full years. If you can't hit the hole, the elevator doors are closing and you're running down the hall and you're trying to dive through. If you can't hit the hole in the NFL and that hole closes quickly for running backs, you're done. You're cooked. You're no use to anybody and you lose your job. And the problem about running backs is teams can't wait around for a running back to go from he's getting back, taking 2 years and destroying the rushing attack, so you get replaced. So the odds of an Achilles tear running back ever becoming a top 10 running back, it requires the perfect placement of the running back. J.K. Dobbins was kind of in that spot, but he was injury prone. He couldn't do it. That would have maybe been in Denver and in LAC when he was a Charger, if he was able to fend off injury, which part of it is you get Achilles tear, he's going to have compensation injuries and all kinds of stuff for the rest of his career. he couldn't do it. He was in the best position to become a top 10 running back. We've never seen it happen before. Point being, big full circle, Najee Harris is no threat whatsoever. He's going to be a shell of himself for at least a year to a year and a half, 2 years, and then he's too old to help anybody anyway. So he is the perfect running back we want in LV to not threaten Jeanty at all and to just take some bad carries away from Jeanty. You know, they just need to get 2 or 3 yards here to keep the defense honest. Give it to Najee. Let Najee fall down. That's what we want. Jeanty to the moon. Jeanty's going to be absolutely unbelievable. Boys, Hammer, you got anything else? I don't know. We'll be here much longer tonight. I might do a Dynasty show, though.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. I'll be here. No, I'm good.
Okay, call back on the Dynasty channel. We'll start in a minute. Hammer, I'll let you decide the Dynasty topic or give me a couple ideas. Maybe I won't like the first one, but throw a couple at me real quick.
Finish the rest. Let me think about it. Give me like a minute and a half.
Okay. Travis, final thought.
Thanks.
Yeah, Travis, final thought.
Not much really. I just think, the way they're building things there, the amount of draft picks they have, the coach they brought in, I think people are going to be, and I'm not talking about Hammer now. I'm talking about the actual Jeanty doubters. There are people out there who just flat out say, you think Jeanty's not as good as people think, that type of stuff. I think they're going to be surprised.
He is such a good receiving back. He is probably
a lot of people don't realize how talented he is.
He's probably the third.
But he's missing the situation.
Yeah, he's probably the third best third or fourth best receiving back in the National Football League. I just think some people don't know it yet, which is fine. Which is fine by me.
Look at the game log, and especially, I don't know what it was, even the last half of the season, they started throwing to him more and, dumping off to him, throwing to him more. He can run routes, too. 55 catches, that, to me, that's
crazy considering.
Yeah, the floor for him, and it's crazy that he did it as a rookie. I think he can be a 70.
Yep. Yeah, crazy considering. Absolute crazy. All right, Hammer, what couple ideas for a Dynasty show?
Let's
Hammer.
Five.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a sailor.
Let's do Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Kenneth Walker.
All right, they want a trio of face-off. I like that. James Conner, Kenneth Walker, Taylor, James Conner, and Cook. Okay. All right, guys, call back on the show.
Those are three good ones. Yep.
I didn't say Connor.
I know. I was when I was trying to say it back. I said Connor, and I was joking. I was like, I mean Connor. All right, James Conner. Who's James Conner?
Who is that?
All right. Call back. All right. Appreciate you guys. DM from Rock Out. Here we go. Hold on.
Go, Jeanty. Score touchdown. Make your birthday. Rumbling, stumbling, we going to it. So, yeah, we scoring.
Thank you, Rock Out. Rock Out to the moon.
Hey, I'm Dom, and I drive fast cars, get hot chicks, and draft Ashton Jeanty double fist style with 2 cell phones at the same time. Why do I have 2 cell phones? One for looking up Ashton Jeanty stats all day, the other is for getting chicks.
I'm surprised that only has one sponsor on that video. Any $100 hauler ever gets to put their name on any video. I'm surprised that has one sponsor. Nobody wants to be on the Jeanty video. Wild. Wild. All right, see you on the Dynasty channel. Thank you very much for the super chats. Hammer, thank you for that $50 hauler. You straight up monster. Appreciate my Rumblers. Guys, the Rumble show, everybody watching right now on Rumble. The Rumble show starts tomorrow. Right, I think it's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern is the goal for that show. We're going to start 1 or 2 a week. And as the show gets bigger, we'll be forced to go 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and eventually 5 days a week. All the FDX, Hammer, Bare Bones, and the Rumble chat. See you guys at 2 p.m. Eastern on Rumble, by the way. We'll let YouTube tag along. We'll multi-stream to YouTube like we allow Rumble to multi-stream with YouTube when we do the YouTube shows like this one. This is a YouTube show right now, and Rumble's here. So, but it will be a Rumble geared show, 2 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow is show 1, thanks to Luis and Hammer and everybody else that's been dropping wads constantly. Thank you, Hammer. Appreciate you. Bare Bones, Simi Valley, Aldi. Appreciate all my Rumblers over in Rumbleville. FDX, you're the man, the myth, the legend. And thank you to all my YouTubers. Thank you to my super chatters, Rock Out and Mean. Appreciate you. See you on the Dynasty channel in 5. Link in description. Thank you, Rock Out.